This is Ray. You're listening to the Drunkard United football show, and I rather root for the damn Toffees than those stupid-ass Gunners.
And hearing Ray say that for a second time in a row still holds true. That yes, in fact, he'd rather be a Toffee than a stupid-ass Gooner there, Sammy.
Yeah, well, none of us are anything at the moment, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true. So here we go with the good old take 2 of the Drunken United Football Show. Let's start the show. Hello and welcome to the Drunken United Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League as told by two common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Huston, and across the way from me is the two-timing Samuel Graham. Sammy, how you doing?
I'm not too bad, thanks, buddy. How are you?
This feels like deja vu all over again, doesn't it, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, you said this is the first time that's ever happened off air, and it's the first time it's ever happened to you all. I've had to re-record a show before with Russ and Rob while you all were on vacation.
A little behind the curtain while Mel was taking a nap, still kind of recovering from being sick. Russ called her on her phone, and I answered. And
did he?
Let me just say, Russ was calling to gloat. Not easy when you lose a show, is it? Huh? How about that?
I am so glad you intercepted that call because I might have had a few choice words for Mr. P2.
Oh yeah, it was pretty fantastic. He was very smugly happy, which is funny because he's like one of the nicest people in the world, and there's very rarely ever like kind of a smugness out of him. So to hear him be just like, surprising, somebody had a mistake. Man, doesn't that suck? I was like, ooh.
I mean,
look at you, Russell.
Isolation's got Mr. Russ kind of spicy.
Seriously, I mean, I've just been sick for 5 days and barely holding it together, and I haven't had alcohol or anything else.
Whatever you got to tell yourself, sweetheart.
Sobriety
do me a
does
favor.
not do me a favor.
You're already talking too much. Why don't you hit that mute button? We're recording at Studio H just outside our nation's capital. You can check us out on all podcast platforms. Be sure to rate, subscribe, review, and most importantly, share with a friend. Now, should you want to chat with us, there is many ways that you can. Mr. Graham, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
Sorry, you caught me in the middle of a sip there.
Yeah, no shit.
It's at DU Football Show. On all of the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then dufootballshow@gmail.com to get in touch via email if you'd like to do it that way.
Excellent. Sam and myself both work in the wine and spirits industry. Both have a deep, passionate love for all things distilled spirits. So as the red-blooded Americans we are, we vow to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show. Mr. Graham, we were drinking some whiskey last night. What whiskey we drinking tonight since we're doing it again?
So I just pulled out a kind of a basic bottle because I actually needed that sample bottle, to be honest with you, what I was drinking last night to sell it whenever I go back out on the street. So I've got a Redemption Rye here, 92 proof on this one, runs you between $24.99 and $29.99 on the shelf. Just a straight rye whiskey, age 2 years old. And basically just ticks every box that a rye should be. Not going to knock your socks off. It's no whistle pig, but it's a very good everyday rye whiskey.
It's inexpensive. You know what? It ticks all the right prices. If we all would like to drink $80 bottles of whiskey every day, but we can't. Sometimes you need a $30 bottle of whiskey, and that's what it does, and it does the job.
Yeah, I like to call these a lot of times Sunday through Thursday whiskeys, right?
Yeah, very
affordable. Fair. You could drink them every night. Come home from work, unwind. Then, Friday, Saturday, you break out the good stuff, impress your friends, all that. So this is one of my favorite Sunday through Thursday bottles.
And one of the big notable differences is people will be like, okay, so why is that so inexpensive and something like Whistle Pig, a bigger price point? Really, the biggest thing is 100% rye. A Whistle Pig is a 100% rye. This is cut with a lot of corn. Corn's inexpensive.
Well, this one's actually 95.5.
Oh, 95.5? Okay. Wow. Very good. Oh.
But it's a major supplier with a boatload of money that bought a bunch of MGP juice.
Heard. Very good. All right. So I went the route of Scotch. I did a single malt Irish last night. I'm doing a single malt.
Ooh, Caol Ila.
Yeah, Caol Ila. Sorry there. I just had to cough again. Allergies have been a motherfucker today. This is the Gordon MacPhail cask series. So everything is a cask strength. And what they'll do is they'll get a popular brand, say like in this case of Caol Ila, they've done Macallan, they've done Glenrothes and things like that. They get a barrel from them, but they bottle it and sell it at an age that's not common for the brand. So this is an 11-year-old whiskey that is at barrel proof. So it's from 2005 and then being bottled 11 years later. The idea is they're able to do something unique with a distillery that people know, but also doesn't kind of infringe upon what the style of those whiskeys are. I didn't check the proof on this bad boy. I'm at 54.4. So about $1.09, $1.10, right around there.
There you go.
But big Isla whiskey. That's what Caol Ilas are, man. This is big, smoky, not as band-aidy as, say, like a Lafroig or a Lagavulin is. This is a little more campfire smoky. Not the biggest of the Isla whiskeys, but still got that big kick in the pants. And this bottle will run you about $1.25 on the shelf.
All right, cool.
All right, buddy. Well, let's have ourselves a good show.
Yeah, let's do it.
There we go. Cheersing ourselves from across the interways.
That's what we have to do.
League owners met this weekend, and I was quite excited. Thought maybe they would give us something to talk about there, Sam. A few talking points. We'd be able to do a pretty entertaining show talking about what the FA had to say. You know what they had to say? Fuck all. That's exactly what they had to say. Fuck
Absolutely
all.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. So,
absolutely nothing.
So
they
we're
had a conference call to say no new developments.
Yep, to say fuck all. like great. That's awesome. Good job, boys. Thank you. Well fucking done.
Right. Yeah, bullshit.
But so that being said, I figure we'll go back to Fantasyland again, Sam. We did the bottom 6 clubs when we did each of their schedules broken down and then kind of said, hey, this is how we think it's gonna shape out for everything.
Yep.
What I figure we do here is just kind of go right down from the top down to the bottom. We'll just at the end we won't discuss it. We'll just say who 15 through 20 were, because we've already done that already, but just to refresh everybody's memory. So let's go ahead and start right off at the top. I think we're both in agreement. I think we both already know the answer. As much as it pains me to say, Liverpool wins the league.
Yeah, definitely. There's no question in my mind. They are a whopping 25 points ahead with just City's got a game in hand, but they still only have 10 games left.
Yeah.
25 points out. Liverpool basically have to lose every match from here on out, and City have to win every game to overtake them. Essentially, I know that's not the exact numbers, but essentially, and that's just not gonna fucking happen.
Yeah, City's got 10. Everybody else has 9, right? I think that's the way it's. City, Arsenal, Villa, and Sheffield all have a game in hand,
United,
and everybody else has 9 games left. It's not going to happen. It needs to be a combination of not just City winning, but Liverpool needs to lose as well as City is winning for them to make up that kind of ground, and it's just not going to happen. The funny part is this is no better than Blackburn. They weren't able to win more than one trophy. Granted, for them, it's the big one, and it's been 30 years in the making, and they've been needing to do this. But they're out of Champions League. They went out in Champions League, frankly, in embarrassing fashion. And they didn't take the FA or the League Cup seriously. They played their kids throughout, and in the League Cup got their asses handed to them by Villa.
Well, the League Cup wasn't their fault. That one in particular was not their fault. The FA Cup totally was their fault. But the scheduling conflict with FIFA for the Club World Cup was absolutely ridiculous. They had the League Cup game on the Wednesday, but they were due to play in the Club World Cup on the Thursday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They did win that.
In Dubai or Istanbul or whatever. Yeah. So it's and they did go win that competition. But they had to take their first team squad to do so.
Yeah, the competition that, remember, back in the day, they said meant nothing, and now all of a sudden they're like, oh, yeah, Club World Cup means everything. The time, remember, after Istanbul when they won the Champions League but then lost the Club World Cup, they were like, it doesn't mean anything. It's not important.
Yeah, of course not. But at the time, they didn't have a German in charge. And I'll make that joke to the day I die. World domination is of the utmost importance.
At the end of the day, how do you rate? What do you think? Does it? Are you in agreement with me? This just kind of feels like Blackburn.
I think it's worse than Blackburn. I told you what I thought was on air last night when gotcha, Mel.
And
for
I thought
me,
we were
this
allies.
is. I got to get one in on you every now and again. This is worse than Blackburn. Everyone knew that Blackburn spent every dime they had, and that was going to be the only time it happened. That was a Leicester scenario, right?
Right.
And Leicester didn't even have that kind of money. They just happened to click at the right time.
Right, and everybody else faltered at the right time.
Yeah, it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing for them. And yes, it's not the Premier League, but if you just take first division titles, Liverpool have the second most in England. They are supposed to be thereabouts year in, year out. It's a shame that they've gone 30 years without one for their supporters after, having the record for so long. And it's taken, 28 years or whatever, 27 years for them to lose that record while they had that drought.
Right.
But this isn't new to them. This isn't a once-in-a-lifetime thing for them to win a top flight. Yes, obviously, again, it's their first Premier League, and that's important and good for you and blah, blah, blah. But you're a big enough club. You should have done this already. You're probably going to do it again. And if it wasn't going to be this year, it would have been in 3, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 years.
In the next few years, it would have happened.
You would have gotten one. So I would argue it's worse than Blackburn. It's less of an achievement. It's definitely worse than United's treble-winning side, winning 3-1. A domestic treble last year from City. Even the 2 doubles that Arsenal won. It's worse than both of those, in my opinion.
Yeah, precisely. So moving on to second place, who you got? I'm going City.
It's got to be City, hands down.
Yeah,
they've got besides the Arsenal game, they've got a relatively easy schedule anyway.
Yeah, and with Leicester, the only team Leicester can apparently score on is Aston Villa. Other than that, they've been having a really hard go at getting goals lately. I just don't see where Leicester's going to be able to catch City. I think City's just going to run away. But that also being said, I also don't think Leicester's going to falter. I think Leicester's going to finish in third as well.
You got to think with City's game in hand over Leicester, they're already 4 points clear. That would put them 7 points clear. The game in hand is against us. And while we seem to have turned the corner a little bit in some of our performances, we're not good enough to beat Manchester City.
No.
So you have to imagine, you have to imagine City wins that game and puts themselves 7 points clear. And I don't think Leicester has enough in the tank to catch them.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
That being said, their goal scoring drought, though, Jamie Vardy came back before he was fully fit. Now I think with this period of being off, I think that he's going to be fully fit and firing, and I don't think they're going to have much of a problem with that anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
To be completely honest.
Very much agree. So now, obviously the surprise is ruined for both of us, but we both agreed with the same thing last night with who we thought was going to finish in fourth place, and it's not who people would think it is. Sammy, who did you have finishing in fourth place?
I think Manchester United's going to do it.
I had the exact same thing. What's your thoughts on that? How come?
Chelsea's just so inconsistent, number one, and it's not like they've been able to take this time off and train together and get better. And get more consistent and get more used to each other. They haven't been able to do that. Bruno Fernandes took an already fractured Manchester United team, so they didn't even need to train together anyway, and made it work, made it gel, and did what Paul Pogba was supposed to do.
Right. What I had wrote down was Bruno, an old United charm, leaving all of us, including United fans, all scratching our heads, saying, how the fuck did they finish in the Champions League spot?
Yeah, especially with the Norwegian gym teacher in charge.
Apparently, whatever he's doing is working. It hasn't been pretty, but it's working. And now we can also very easily say that a lack of competition in the league has made it so that a probably subpar team can finish in fourth place. We won't call them subpar because subpar would be somebody that's in the middle of the pack. Well, let's say it's a team not playing up to expectations,
Yeah.
If it was a flawed side, like United has flaws, Chelsea has flaws, you have flaws, Tottenham has flaws. It's like whoever it was that would end up in that spot, it's a flawed club. Like they haven't had the best of years. So, it seems like the chips are going to fall into place for United.
Yeah, no, you're like any other top club. You take a bunch of money and just throw it at a Portuguese player and hope for the best. City did it with uh, Bernardo Silva. United did it years ago with Cristiano. Real Madrid did it with Cristiano from United. Juventus just did it with Cristiano from Real Madrid.
Yeah, precisely.
So Manchester United went out and got themselves their own another Portuguese, soon to be legend, I'd imagine, and it's working out for them.
We did it with Andres Gomez, but apparently, the most wonderful, celebrated man in the world, young son, it kicked him in his leg, and that's broke his ankle, and that's what fucked our entire season. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Anywho, so Chelsea in 5th place, right?
And you took too long to get rid of Marco Silva.
Yes, very true.
Be honest.
Another Portuguese person.
I didn't say Portuguese coaches. It's Portuguese players.
So Chelsea then in 5th. Do you think they're able to hold off Wolverhampton and Spurs and Arsenal?
Yeah, you could make a case that the inconsistent. I mean, they both Wolves and Chelsea both have the same record over their last 6: 3 wins, 3 losses. Mm-hmm. I think it being that and Chelsea being 5 points clear, I think Chelsea hangs on to that 5th place spot.
I agree with that too. And also, let's face it, Wolverhampton's also focused on Europa right now, where they're having success. They're into the quarters. Like you've got a chance to fucking win this thing. And they came away with a draw at Olympiacos, so it's in their court to fucking advance once that tournament starts to kick off again.
Once it resumes, yep.
Gotta say, hats off to that club though, because my thought process at the beginning of the season is whenever somebody finishes in 7th, ultimately they have to start playing in July. The season becomes too daunting. All the competitions become too daunting, and trying to keep up with everything, it all starts to fall apart. And we've seen it happen. It happened with Southampton. It happened with Burnley last year. It's happened with Everton. Happens, with everybody. And Wolves started with a bunch of draws, but you know what they weren't doing? They weren't losing. And they've managed to put themselves right back in that situation again. So, credit to them. Very good season for them.
Yeah, for sure. 13 draws on the year right now. They've got 6 losses and 10 wins. I mean, that early part of the year was what they rattled off 3 or 4 draws to open the season up, and we're sitting dead last. And they finally got themselves going. They did enough to scrape some points and got through the group stages. And then in November, December, January, when there was no Europa League going on, they picked up some points. They were doing very well.
So let's go on to 7th and 8th. We'll talk about them collectively because you and I have the same 2 clubs, but just in opposite order. So who do you have finishing in 7th with your red-colored sunglasses?
Well, actually, just looking at this, I last night when I was talking about it, I was also a little drunk. I forgot that we had a game in hand, but again, it's at City. So you got to think we lose it, which means we're 3 points behind Wolves. I think we might actually be able to pip them for 6th.
Okay.
To be honest with you, we're only 3 goals behind them in terms of goal differential, and they are tied with Tottenham on goal differential.
So last night I'm
going to go.
Go ahead and say it. Please say it.
I'm going to go Arsenal 6th, Wolves 7th. I'm sorry, Arsenal 6th, Tottenham 7th, Wolves 8th.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to change it up.
And you weren't drunk tonight, so rose-colored glasses. Oh boy! All right, fair enough. I had Tottenham finishing in 7th and Arsenal finishing in 8th. I know Arsenal has been on a bit of a run, and they've been figuring out ways to win ugly. But I just don't think ultimately their defense is going to stop people from scoring goals, which would be their downfall. And although Spurs cannot score goals, Mourinho knows how to keep teams out of the net. So I feel like in kind of a scrappy way, I had Spurs finishing over top of Arsenal. But fair enough. So, but you got Wolves falling all the way back to 8th. I think Wolves are 6th. I think Wolves get one of the Europa spots.
Here's the problem. Look at this. It's very, very tight, right?
Oh, it's incredibly tight.
Wolves and Sheffield are tied on 43 points. Tottenham's on 41. Arsenal's on 40. Behind that, you've got Burnley at 39, Crystal Palace 39. I don't think either one of them is going to pick up that many more points to climb up into the challenges spots. And you're on 37. You maybe have enough to get up into 8th, 9th kind of area. But beyond that, I don't know. The other question is, does Wolves drop enough points? I think we have enough in the tank with what we've been going on with Mikel Arteta and the way we've been playing the spirit. And we didn't really get a chance to see that Argentinian kid defender that came in. In the couple of games he played, he seemed pretty stoic and calm and relaxed.
The game we saw live, he was fucking phenomenal. He was the best player on the pitch next to the Real Madrid guy you guys got right now. He had a hell of a game. Why am I forgetting his name? Ceballos, yeah. Ceballos had a great second half.
Second half, yeah. But so with I think we may have turned a little bit of a corner and can pick those points up, So and the goal differential is really tight. Like I said, Tottenham and Wolves are both on +7. Sheffield United's on +5. We're +4. So when those points start to stack up and they all, come in that tight, that goal differential is like an extra point.
True.
We all may finish on the same damn points, and then goal differential decides 6th through 9th. Who knows?
That could be the case. In 9th place, I think we both picked the same team. We both picked Sheffield.
I think Sheffield's going to drop off. I'm with you.
Right, and it's not because they actually have. We talked about this before before everything crazy went down, but they actually have a pretty easy finish to the season. But there has to be something said about momentum and routine for a team like this, because you're kind of doing what you're doing off of guts and adrenaline and a system, and you're kind of like you're moving along quietly, just very stoically doing what you need to do to get the points and get the wins. This kind of a break completely throws a fucking wrench into the motor. I mean, it just fucks it up big time.
I mean, the other thing was their whole system's based around being organized and showing a ton of heart and effort, right?
Yeah.
And that takes you a long way. We've talked about it many times. That takes you a long way. Give it your all and be organized. But at some point, you're going to have to actually do something. And that's when those top clubs can pick you off. Those top players can pick you off. And now with having 6, 8, 12, 16 weeks, who knows how long this goes. It's already been 6. But, 8, 12, 30 weeks to look at tape. Look at how do we break them down? Where are their weak spots? And after not being around the lads for a long time, do you come back feeling the same way? Who knows what conversations they had about wages and stuff. Right. Does this guy buy in anymore? Does that guy buy in anymore? And you have one chink in that armor and you're fucked.
Well, and it also comes down to you're gonna see some teams again that they're not going to be surprised about what you have to offer. Like Everton, right. You play Everton again. Everton with Ancelotti now at manager aren't going to be fucking surprised at what you throw at them. Some of these teams that are in the bottom that are fighting to stay alive are going to be quite ready for what Sheffield has to offer, because they'll go, fine, we'll play it to a 0-0 draw because that's a point, and we'll take that. Where will Sheffield be able to find that goal? Will Sheffield it? Like I said, I think that timing and momentum really does affect them, and it's not to take anything away from the blindingly remarkable season they've had, because I guarantee you, both you and I had them going right the fuck back down.
Absolutely.
And I guarantee you, most people had them going right the fuck back down.
100%. And they've performed admirably, very well. The last thing I think the league needed was another goddamn Burnley, though.
Very true.
But they were doing Burnley better than Burnley.
Yeah, this season they have been. I mean, Burnley's gotten it back together, but yeah, I would definitely say Sheffield's been doing it better than they have. So
but I think this is a club that could suffer from a sophomore hangover.
I agree.
Next season.
I agree. It's probably for the better that they aren't playing European ball next year. It will probably suit them better, because then they could just focus on the league. You've seen, I mean, Bolton, they ended up going down the year that they were in Europe. Now granted, the Stuart Holden injury didn't help them at all in that situation, and then eventually selling Cahill in the middle of that season didn't help them at all. Gary Cahill, but but you see that all the time. So like I said, we've already said it. Saw it with Everton, saw it with Southampton, saw it with. I mean, everyone who does it runs into that trouble, and Sheffield would have definitely run into that trouble. So
for sure.
10th place, I think we both got the same club, Everton. Everton's not as good as the big clubs. We saw that firsthand as they got their asses handed to them by Chelsea. but they're also way better than the clubs below them. And I think they're going to win the games they need to win because they've got a manager that's going to keep them focused through the rest of the season and not have them going on to beach time. Not that beach time exists now anymore. I think when they come back and they're playing to empty stadiums, Carlo's going to have them on all cylinders and firing, you know?
Yep. The beach time's happening in Florida.
Well said. You got me.
Fucking idiot. Fucking idiots.
All right, so let's go ahead and go down the bottom half of the table. Going to be a lot of interchangeable parts here. I remember from last night, you and I kind of would take these teams but with the next couple, be like, yeah, they could be in one position. One guy be in front of one could be behind one. Pretty easy to figure out. 11th place, as I said last night, and I'll say it again, this is totally a heart bet. It's not a head bet. I got Crystal Palace finishing in 11th. That's where our boy Brad had them finishing this season. They've had a hell of a year. They figured it out, and I think they're going to figure out a way to have their best year in the Premier League and finish in 11th.
Yeah, so being 5 points back, I don't think Southampton's going to be able to catch them. I don't think Newcastle has the goals to catch them. So I could definitely see them finishing in 11th. But them and Burnley had very similar form when all this stuff stopped.
Right.
Ashley Barnes, Chris Wood are having the time to get fit again and maybe come back and start scoring some goals again. So I think that this could be kind of interchangeable, 11th and 12th, seeing as they're both tied on points, both with a -6 goal differential.
Yeah.
But I think Burnley Palace 11 and 12th, and you could literally flip a coin.
Right, and I have Palace and Burnley, so basically the same thing.
Yeah.
We could say the same about the next two teams in 13th and 14th with Newcastle and Southampton, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly. They're 1 point apart. Newcastle's on 35, Southampton's on 34. Southampton's -17, Newcastle's -16 on goal differential.
Right.
Same exact situation with them. Now, I did notice last couple of games before the stop happened, Danny Ings was not starting, and he was the one scoring all the goals for Southampton.
Absolutely the case. Wondering if there's trouble in paradise.
Yeah, that's going to be the big question: is have Ings and Hasenhüttl fallen out, and are they going to be able to rectify that situation and get Danny Ings firing again?
It was funny. I was looking on Twitter, and shame on you, Toon Army, as a whole. There was links of Ings possibly going to Newcastle, and all of Toon Army going, no, we don't want him. We don't want him. I'm like, what? You don't want a guy who can sit in front of the goal and create chances and score goals? No. Why would you want that? Joe, Linton is perfectly fine in that job, I guess, right? Because he does such an amazing job scoring goals for you, like all the time Joe Linton does, right? He's so amazing.
Yeah. So Danny Ings, prior to coming to Southampton, obviously, and even during his time at Southampton, had a very injury-hit career.
Right, of course.
This season, maybe season and a half going into last year, he's really found some consistency in his fitness. I think Newcastle fans may just be jaded, to be honest with you, after Andy Carroll and, some of those injury-hit strikers that they pick up. Why do we want somebody with that kind of track record?
His track record right now is he's not getting hurt, He was hurt like crazy.
Well, exactly.
Really, he was hurt like crazy at Liverpool. It was at Liverpool that he was really hurt like crazy. Because before that, when he was with Burnley, he was consistent.
Right. It seems like he's turned a corner from that time period. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I would take Alan Shearer at the age he is now over Joe Linton. So if they're pissed off about Danny Ings, they can shut the fuck up.
And especially with considering the two wingers that they have, the creative forces they have in Almiron and Saint-Maximin, it's like, why wouldn't you want a guy who just gets in front of goal and puts a foot on a ball and puts it in the back of the net?
Absolutely.
Ings is your classic poacher goal scorer. Like sounds like it's exactly the guy you fucking need on that team, to be honest. Yeah,
and not even just that. He has picked up balls, kind of halfway in the hole there, like halfway between midfield and the box, and created stuff on his own. He had a couple of smashed in goals from 25 out recently, and then some from the edge of the box where he just laced them and were fantastic strikes. I don't know why you wouldn't want him.
So I did forget to bring up, we had a question from Ray that we'll go back to right at the end of this. But
Okay.
So the one thing that's worth noting with both Southampton and Newcastle is there could be a slip, right? So we have them penciled in at 13th, 14th. They could slip. I don't think they slip to the point where they would end up being relegated. But to see one of them in possibly 16th or 17th place would not surprise me. There could be that kind of a slip.
Absolutely.
But I think they have enough space to save themselves.
Not very good. Yeah. Defensively, they're both not very good. So they could definitely, they could lose a lot of 3-2s where they should have won.
And Southampton at home is terrible this season. Absolutely deplorable this season.
So, yeah, for sure. But I think the lowest they'll finish, either one of them, is 15th. Because West Ham, Watford, and Bournemouth have all proven to be such garbage that I don't think they're going to be able to make up those 7-point gaps. I'm sorry.
Right.
That they have on them currently.
So real quick, and then we'll get to Ray's question. The bottom six, just as a refresher for me, I had 15th Brighton Hove Albion, 16th West Ham, 17th Villa, 18th Watford, 19th Bournemouth, and 20th Norwich. I believe you had Watford staying safe and West Ham going down in pretty much kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. And I knew we had to re-record today, and I still didn't go back and listen to it.
Excellent. Well done. Good preparation on your part.
Quality.
It was. I do love the smug fucking nod of the head as he likes to eat the iPad when we do these. So if you ever get a chance to see the Zoom, it's like I'm kind of back a little, Mel's kind of back a little. Sam is like right up on the camera. It is much of Sam Graham's mug.
The problem is I'm not at a proper desk. That's the first thing. So it's like a file cabinet, like a nice wood file cabinet. So I can't get my legs up under it. So I can't sit like normal. So if I were to actually sit back, this is what you would see.
Aha, very good.
And I'm so far away from the damn thing, I don't even know if you can hear me right now.
Yeah, we can hear you. But you know what? I don't mind your big old mug. It's it's adorable, Sammy.
I like seeing his cheese eating grin.
Yeah, so I just sit up, elbows on the knees, and I'm right up in it.
All right, so here we go. Here's the question from Ray, and we meant to talk about it when we talked about Man United, and the first time we did this, we did, but somebody lost the show, and we had to re-record, so that's how it's going. So from Ray, I know that football is on hold, but there's a lot of chatter about upcoming transfer window and what it might look like, etc. Your thoughts on Sancho being signed by United? Also, how much do you think United will get for Pogba? And I know it's not near enough what they paid for him. And then also, what about Kane? Do you think he makes the move to United? And also, when do you think the season will resume? I'm thinking sometime late May, early June will be the resumption of the season. What about you, Sammy, on that?
Yeah, I'm thinking mid-June, to be honest with you. And then again, the best idea I've heard is in the Midlands doing that World Cup style camps with each club. Basically, you come out of your hotel, straight into a bus, straight to the stadium, disinfect on your way back to the bus, straight to the hotel, in your hotel room.
Yep. So, Sancho, do you think Sancho ends up with United? I know you and I had a little bit of a disagreement about it last night. I tend to think he's going to end up back at City, but because I just think City's going to come up with the money for him. But you were tending to think he might end up being with United.
Yeah, so I think United's going to have to prioritize one or the other, Kane or Sancho.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're more in need of a center forward. But I still don't think he's going to end up at City. I don't think he's going to be happy being a bit part player, being so important for Dortmund, as young as he is. And 100,000 a week, or so. I think he's going to cost more in the region of 150, 160,000 a week. Now we know City with their oil-rich owners and everything, they could probably afford that. I read an article today, which is actually good for this discussion, that they think this summer's transfer window is going to look very different to anything that we've ever seen, because clubs have taken such a financial impact from. You see, I think it's like ESPN Europe is withdrawing some funding from. Withholding their last payment from Ligue 1. You see NBC is talking about holding some money back or asking for a rebate from the Premier League. So a lot of the financial situations in these clubs is going to be very different. I think you'll see a lot of loans, and more so than ever, you'll see a lot of player swaps, which happens here in our sports.
But very rarely happens there. Yeah,
very rarely happens. And usually they toss in a player to sweeten the deal on top of $60 million.
Right.
Because they can't afford 120. You know what I mean?
What happened with you guys in United for Sanchez? You got Mkhitaryan.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
And they got Sanchez to kind of help with the finances of what Sanchez's wage bill was.
Right. Exactly. So that article, it was very interesting read, but they think that a lot of these clubs aren't going to have the money. Right. I mean, we look at what happened in Scotland this past week. We joked about it last week because Dundee United was holding out, trying to essentially broadcasting for bribes. But these clubs voted to end the league so they could get the prize money just so they could survive. Right. And you're going to see teams like Bournemouth, Burnley, teams that operate on not a great budget because they've got small stadiums. They don't really sell players on like that for huge amounts of money. I think you're going to see some of these teams really start to struggle financially, but they're still going to need to bolster their roster. So I think loan deals, I think player swaps, and I think that this particular transfer window is going to look very, very different. And again, that's all contingent that people can travel for their fucking medicals.
Right. Now,
who knows if they can even go have their physical.
True. Now, here's another thought then, going into Pogba and the sale of Pogba. I still think that he's going to garner that 80, 90 million. It might be a little bit less. Do you think maybe Bale gets thrown in as a piece of the pie to complete a deal like that with United? Because they've been connected to Bale before, and you're helping Madrid get rid of something they don't want, and you're helping United get rid of something they don't want, and both players still have gas in the tank and can prove something. Do you think that could be a possibility?
I don't know about Gareth Bale necessarily. It's possible, but I think Bale's perfectly content playing golf and collecting $600,000 a week.
True.
I don't think he gives a shit. I think him and Mesut Ozil are in the camp of, I'm a professional footballer that doesn't like to play fucking football.
Right. One likes to play Fortnite. The other one likes to play golf.
Yeah. So he's a scratch golfer, though. I mean, he's very good at it.
Yeah. One of the places I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's possible, yes. And United have the money to pay his wages, especially if they can offload Alexis Sanchez when he comes back from loan from Inter, who's on $500,000 a week. So if they can get Pogba's, I think he's on 290, Paul Pogba, maybe 350, something like that. Mm-hmm. If they can offload him and his wages, now I think it's going to be for less money though. Maybe Madrid comes in at 50 million plus Gareth Bale, right, or 40 million plus Gareth Bale. If not, I think he's more in the 65-70 range. I don't think they're going to get the 89 million pound they paid for him, though.
Well,
I think he's going to definitely fall short of that mark.
Who fucking knows? Like with the way things are going, we're no better than the press in England right now with a dartboard and a couple of fucking darts. To kind of
100%. 100%.
So the place I threw at you yesterday, and they do have some players that the coach has a little more faith in, but I thought would be a nice match for Pogba would be go back to France and play for PSG. Simply because the person in front of him, behind him, would be Idrissa Gueye, which Idrissa Gueye, as we all know, is essentially Conte. Like the year that Chelsea won the league, Gueye was playing for Aston Villa, and he was second in all stats to Conte. Everything Conte led the league in, number 2 was Idrissa Gueye. And at a place like PSG, that allows you we've got the hard-nosed holding defensive midfielder that can take care of everything, while Pogba can then just go be a creative box-to-box guy and just let him fucking go.
I think the only reason he would go back there, and I did not bring this up last night, is he's seen what Neymar can do what he wants and get away with it, still be in the team, he just runs the show. Yeah. That'd be the only reason.
And Pogba's a Frenchman, so he would really get away with it.
Right. I think, though, him and Thomas Tuchel would butt heads tremendously. I don't think Thomas Tuchel really plays the style of football that Paul Pogba needs to be a decent player. I think Zizou would be better suited as a coach for Paul Pogba.
Probably.
And also there's a ready-made, you still have Marco Verratti and I can't remember the other dude in the center midfield for PSG off the top of my head for some all of a sudden. But there's, I think, too much competition for places. When Fred first came over, he was shit. And Pogba was the first name on the team sheet, and Fred couldn't get a sniff. And it was just easy for him, and he got complacent. Now, all of a sudden, Fred's playing well, and Paul Pogba has been injured all season.
Right.
Air quotes around that. But Luka Modric is aging. So he goes to Madrid. He's a number one, and he's not really being challenged. And I think the coach suits him better. And the spotlight at Real Madrid is much bigger than the spotlight at PSG.
And then you have the German. The German midfielder with Madrid, who's also starting to get up there in years too.
Tony Cruz. Tony Cruz.
Yep, Cruz.
But in Real Madrid, you're basically on the Vegas Strip, right?
Right.
In PSG, you're in Reno.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I was just trying to think of other options than Madrid, but I mean, it could be as just blanketly obvious as Eden Hazard was last year. It was like, he's going to fucking Madrid. It's going to fucking happen. So the last one, and let's try to make this quick and then get to prediction time. Harry Kane. I think, although United and Spurs do not like to do business together, I still think the deal's going to get done because ultimately Manchester United wants England's number one at the top of their fucking striker system, scoring goals for them.
Yeah,
it's what Bob Woodward jerks off at night about, is having like England's number one. I'm sorry, yeah, Ed Woodward jerks off at night thinking about having Harry Kane being the number one striker for that club.
I think he's a masochist, Ed Woodward. Mm-hmm. He just loves getting his feet held to the flames and transfer deals and overpaying shit, getting raped by agents for ridiculous contracts and all the like. I think this is one of the most interesting deals that could get done because I think it'll see Anthony Martial go the other way.
Yeah.
I think you'll see Marcus Rashford on the left, Kane through the middle if it gets done, Kane through the middle, and Dan James out on the right hand side. Yeah. With Bruno Fernandes in the hole.
Yep.
So I could see Anthony Martial plus 60, 70 million. Maybe a little more than that, even maybe 80, 90 million plus Martial. Yeah. And if one club will come through this with money, it's Manchester fucking United.
Yeah, they'll have money on the other end. And Martial, honestly, that would be a good move for him over to Spurs. I think he would fit. He already got along pretty well with, never mind. He didn't get along very well with Jose Mourinho. But Jose Mourinho always likes to take back projects and suddenly be friendly with them again.
Right. So you see that happen, right? Also. Mm-hmm. But then what the biggest thing that'll happen is Daniel Levy will take that 90 million quid, stuff it away, make sure he gets paid another £3 million bonus, not buy anyone else. Martial is not going to score for 3 games, and Jose season 3 will start at the beginning of season 2.
Heard. And Jose will have his meltdown.
That's it. That is a hot take. Okay.
Very good. Sam Graham's hot takes, everybody. It's time to tell you what little we know. It is prediction time. If only we were betting on the Belarusian League every week. Sammy, how'd you do on your bet?
I won. Again, plus 345 last week.
The Slutsks are getting it done for you, aren't they?
FC Slutsk. Ride that Slutsk train, my friend.
All right, so you picking them again this week? Who they playing?
Oh, I'm picking them deep this week. They are. This one's fun to say, too. Oh, hold on. I can't see it from that angle because their name's so goddamn long. Give me one sec. I got to back out of it now. The first word is FC Belshina. Mm-hmm. And the second word is Bobrusk.
FC Belshina Bobrusk.
Belshina Bobrusk.
Bobrusk. Heard.
Yeah, Bobrusk. Bobrusk.
Heard. Very nice.
Fun to say, though.
So what's...
I I have FC Slutsk winning again. We're going to keep it going. And I've got the game in general being balls deep, if you will, at over 2.5 goals total in the game. So we've got FC Slutsk to win Sunday morning at 7 a.m., over 2.5 goals in the game. So that's 3 or more for if you're keeping count at home at plus 220.
Very nice, very nice. The top of the table FC Slutsks.
Correct. As the oldest profession in the world.
I was waiting
for the Belarusian list.
I was waiting for him to make that one.
I was going, he's riding the Slutsk train.
Whoop, whoop. Like the old Godfather from WWF back then. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into our degenerate, because our degenerate went deep this week.
And now, it's time for our degenerate gambling friend Pat's Pick of the Week.
All right, blind pickings. Okay, I've established Belarus isn't in Russia. And betting on Dynamo Minsk is a sure thing. So they play some team, Slamaki-Stai. I still can't believe that that's not Russian. So I'll put 105 down for them to win 100 at minus a half a point. So they just got to win by a goal. Now, that would be good, but I give you more. See, he's doing a little Kitty the Chicken bit there. Here's a list of blindly picking the rest of the games at $25 a pick.
What?
That's right. Pat is picking the entire weekend, $25 bet on each one.
Wow.
So he just has the winner.
Now
go ahead.
Now he normally actually bets his bet.
Yeah, he regularly does. Yeah.
Is he really doing this?
I don't know. I'll have to ask. He could very well be. I mean,
he's getting the shakes, dude. It's like detoxing.
He's flush. He's sitting on money right now, so why not?
Well, that's true. He hasn't spent the money on the tournament because the tournament didn't happen.
Right. As long as his book is taking the bets, I mean, fucking place them. So all he did was pick the team. So I'm just going to tell you the team that he picked and know that he's doing a $25 bet. So
go for it.
He's doing Newman, Grundo at plus 200. Salvia, even. What is that? Stavia. Dynamo Brest at even. Bate Borisov at even.
Christ, it's Bate. Jesus
Bate,
Christ.
Sorry. Whatever. Settle down. Is this your transfer window? Let me fuck up the fucking Eastern European names, okay? Thank you very much.
Dynamo Brest sounds like an old glow wrestler from back in the day.
Oh, it definitely does.
Definitely.
She wrestled the marvelous Mula, was it?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah, so Islach for plus 105. He's taking the Sluts at minus 140. And the Torpedoes...
Over.
And the Torpedoes at minus 115. He says, have a great week and talk to you from the basement and see how I did on Saturday. Oh.
He didn't bet Rub Breast?
You're getting ahead of yourself there because I believe on Monday you were telling me you wanted me to bet. And I'm like, no, I don't bet. I have someone to bet in my proxy.
Big Sam.
Taylor's.
Really?
Lock of the week.
That's right. Taylor got in and he's placing a bet. And he's doing it in my proxy because we are kindred spirits. And I know that 20% of the time, Taylor's going to get it right. 100% of the time, baby. All right. Also,
I wish I knew about this feature before we started.
Since you guys have been asking for bets lately, I thought I'd help a brother out and put my knowledge to the Belarusian Premier League to the test. Truth be told, I've always been a breast man. And the only thing better than one breast is two. So, while one of the city's team is Dynamo Brest, I've got to go with Brest for no other reason that because of a sight of a breast, that is usually my reaction is yes, R-H-R-U-H, breast. Therefore, I've got 100 on Brest, Kagistani striker Vladislav Valjekiv to get off the mark and score at any time on Sunday at third place, Torpedo Balaz Zodinho, and that's going to net me a cool 1,300. High five, great success. The Kagistani will score the goal, make the country very proud, very proud.
You like me, I like you.
Yeah, you like me, I be your friend, I be your boyfriend, yes?
What else is Kazakhstan known for?
They are the number one exporter of potassium, if you must ask, my good friend. Why, yes. And also, they have the cleanest prostitutes in the region. That is very important to know. And apparently,
in the region.
And an obsessive love with Pamela Anderson from Baywatch.
I mean, who doesn't?
You know what else they're known for?
What else are they known for?
Paying off UEFA to get the Europa League final. Played at 11 p.m. local time.
Go ahead. Keep bitching about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
still upset.
Both teams showed up. One of them just happened to kick the shit out of you.
Well, one of them, their best player at the time was Belgian, and the health minister from Belgium had to ban orgies. So he's used to being up late, I'd imagine.
Heard.
I would imagine orgies would require several people in a non-hygienic environment. That definitely is a COVID and STD well.
So,
yeah, but I don't know anybody having lunchtime orgies. So what I'm saying is he's used to being up late. So at the time, last year.
So besides this very, very bitter tea you have, Sam, do you have any other parting words for us?
I do, actually. Oh, what?
I would say we have a bad movie recommendation, speaking of orgies.
Oh, yeah. We watched a terrible movie today.
We discovered on Netflix a 2011 gem that we didn't know existed because it shouldn't, called A Good Old-Fashioned Orgy, starring Jason Sudeikis.
Good old-fashioned American orgy.
I'm sorry, A Good Old-Fashioned American Orgy,
Yeah.
starring Jason Sudeikis.
And all kinds of people
Blake
you
Wilson,
Nick Kroll,
Tyler
Labine.
Labine's in it.
Yep, the whole bunch of people that
Ed
you would
Fort.
see and you go, oh, I know them. Oh, Will Fort.
Will Fort.
You'd be like, I know them. I know that person. I know that person. Like the whole cast. It was American Pie, but for 30-year-olds. 30-year-olds
It's
shouldn't have an
terrible. You
American
should watch
Pie
it.
movie. You know?
No, they shouldn't.
It should be 20-year-olds that have an
it's-
American Pie movie.
It's absolutely terrible and absolutely worth watching if there's nothing else on television.
Yeah, just made me giggle. Made her giggle too.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Sammy. Parting words?
Yeah, actually, a very cool thing that came up. Today, actually, we were sent from our bosses. I sell Rika vodka, which you all know.
Icelandic vodka.
Yeah, so they're doing something very cool amidst all this craziness. For the next few weeks, you post on Instagram, tag at Rika Vodka on Instagram, and use the hashtag Rika Beard.
Okay.
BEARD, Rika Beard.
Mm-hmm.
They will then donate $5 a post, one per person per week. They will donate $5 for that post to a fund to help bartenders put out by this crisis.
Oh, very cool.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So they're everybody can't go to the barbershop, you can't go to the salon, you can't get your stuff done. So they're asking everybody to do essentially a Movember, no shave November, ditch the razors, grow your beards. If you look online, you will find the different themes of the week because you can dress your beard up. This first week is Viking beard. So the longer you have it, the better chance you have. There are prizes at the end of it. They've got they'll pick two. People will they'll vote for the beard of the week. Top two get it. First place is a $100 Drizzly gift card or a Rika bartending kit if Drizzly is illegal where you live. And second place is a Beard of the Week T-shirt. So
very cool.
Yeah, check it out. I'm going to post mine on the show's page when I figure out what the hell I can get the stuff in here to make it a Viking beard. But I will not be shaving until we open for business again. So in honor of this and to help bartenders out. But make sure you tag Rika Vodka at Rika Vodka on Instagram. You can do your story or a post and then hashtag Rika Beard, BEARD. And Rika is spelled REYKA.
Yep.
But just a very cool little initiative to help bartenders out. And $5 a post can really make some traction.
That is a huge, huge donation.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very cool. And just a fun thing to do. Why not? You know, your wives might be pissed at you if you're clean shaven, but so what? I'm sure you're mad that her roots look like fucking hell anyway. So she could take one back.
Yep.
I am in solidarity with the economy. I am not ordering in like an at-home home coloring, hair color, blah, blah, blah. I am waiting till my girl Stephanie is back at work, and I don't care how much gray shows up.
Very good. Very good. Oh, so since there isn't, we aren't getting ready to do injury time because let's face it, we already did it yesterday.
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
I wasn't done.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Wash your fucking hands.
Oh, very good. All right.
Stay home.
So what we talked about last night, and we'll go ahead and talk about now to close out the show. Listeners of the show, we definitely want to hear from you next week. We're going to try to incorporate a Zoom call in so that you can be on the show. But the main thing, we're going to talk about the potential Newcastle takeover and the new owners that could very well be taking over the team. We joke about what a piece of shit Mike Ashley is, but he's not ultimately a bad person. There's some bad fucking people about to take over this club. Some very, 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 very bad fucking people.
No, I mean, there are varying degrees of bad, be honest. Mike Ashley is a bad person. That's true. But these people are rapists and murderers. So they're worse. Yes, they're worse. But Mike Ashley is a bad person.
Mike Ashley is a bad person because he's a fucking asshole and he's a twit.
I'd argue this makes Mike Ashley even worse to knowingly sell them to them.
Yeah, and then also just looking at the English government allowing this potential sale to happen. Like, you're allowing people that have done some pretty fucked up shit to own a legal business in your country. So
the English have also done some pretty fucked up shit.
Next week, sorry. next week, honestly, guys, no holding back. I want to do like a really deep dive and have a really serious conversation. I know we typically just kind of joke around and fuck off and have fun, but I want to go ahead and have a deep conversation about this. I'm calling out all of Toon Army that listens to this show. Anybody with Toon Army, we're definitely going to schedule to have Alan on. But like Keith, if you want to call in, we would love to hear from you as well. We want points of view and also just people who are opinionated as far as life in general or.
Yeah, absolutely.
Politically as well.
We wouldn't mind hearing from Sheffield fans. They're owned by some shoddy individuals as well.
Yeah.
Sheffield fans?
Sheffield United got bought by some Middle Eastern money.
Ooh.
Yeah. So if your club is owned by a cunt or potentially being sold to a cunt, get in touch at the DU Football Show on all the social medias at dufootballshow@gmail.com.
That is the best solicitation I've ever heard, Graham.
I was going to say, I don't think I could do it much better myself. So everybody, till next week.
Good night.
Sorry, the tyrant is done now.